In Chicago, you know that all sports rock. The Bears, Hawks, Bulls, Cubs, and Sox. Pick your favorite, you can choose. As long as the Packers lose. For everything you need to know, it's Bill Swerski Sports Talk Chicago. Bill Swerski Sports Talk Chicago.
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Bill Swerski Sports Talk Chicago. This is your hosts, Alex and Sean. On this episode, we are going to be talking about the absolute crazy Bears-Bengals game today. We'll be talking the Bulls' undefeated season so far, knock on wood. And we'll be talking about Blackhawks maybe turning a corner. But first, like to thank our sponsor, the Rockford Ice Hogs. If you're not familiar with the Rockford Ice Hogs, they're the AHL minor league affiliate of the Chicago Blackhawks. What does that mean for you? You get to see the stars of tomorrow today at family-friendly, affordable prices. Season is going on right now, so make sure you head on over to icehogs.com, get yourself a hat, shirt, jersey, tickets, and more. Tell them Swerski Sports sent you. Alex, my friend, how are you doing today?
Still catching my breath. I don't know about you, but I'm still catching my breath. That game ended, a few hours ago, right now that we're recording. And I'm still processing everything that just happened. Holy shit.
Yeah, it was just absolute like mayhem. Like I left part of the game because my daughter and her best friend like had a joint birthday lunch and we went out for sushi and I'm just checking on the game and I'm like, what is going on? So then I turned it off and then I came home and watched the rest of the game and I was just jaw on the floor.
I want to say this. Had the Bears lost that game, I think to me that would have been worse than the Hail Mary loss last year. What are your thoughts?
Uh, I mean, it would at least be on par. At
You had a
least on
two
par.
touchdown lead. Two touchdown lead late. You
Very
had
late.
you had a pick that looked like a pick six and was called because it was down on contact. I'm not so sure. Um, and then everything just unraveled. And there was a key point in that unraveling. Do you remember when the Bears got the pick and the pick six? Because the pick six would have ended it right there. The Bengals would not have come back. But they get the pick six called back. So they get the ball deep in Bengals territory, the Bears do. And there was a false start. You remember that?
Yep.
Like, could you imagine if you lost that game? Because that was a point where all you needed was a first down. And that lost it for you. That false start lost it for you. And they were good about false starts the entire game up until that point. So there's these little things that just make you want to tear your hair out. And can we just start with the worst part of this entire game? You probably know where we're going with this, right?
I mean, this could be a lot of things, but it's probably the defensive backs.
I'm going to say the special teams.
Oh God, yeah, I just blocked that out of my mind. I mean, Richard Hightower should have to walk home.
No kidding. Do you know? Do you want to hear the stats for the special teams today? You know how many
Uh,
yards they gave up? They gave up over 300 yards on returns.
Jesus.
300 yards. 297 of them were on kick returns. 12 were on punt returns. The only good special teams play of the day was Torrey Taylor had an amazing punt. It was like, what, a 71 yarder? That was a bomb. That was the only good thing that happened. And the tone was set on the very second the game started because Charlie Jones brought back that touchdown, that 98-yard touchdown to start the game on special teams. That was one of many just awful moments for the special teams. I mean, the fact that you had three guys, three corners have over 50 yards worth of kick return yards. Charlie Jones having 179. Giving, I mean, it's just, It's wild. It's some of the worst special teams play I've ever seen.
I mean, it doesn't stop there either. It's not like it was just the return game. I mean,
No.
the kick recoverage. It was your own return game, which was abysmal. Devin Duvernay had forgot how to return. He looks so ginger as he's running up there. He doesn't hit the hole hard.
No.
Um, I mean, kick returner is going to have to be a big on your off-season shopping list. Um, you got a field goal partially blocked. Um, and then you had one that you flat out just missed that you got saved by a penalty. Like the special teams were abysmal.
Yeah, and I want to say too that there was several times in this game where everyone's like, just kick it in the end zone. People would respond, well, I don't know if our kicker currently has the leg for it. And that kind of goes to the we talked about with the two missed field goals from Cairo Santos, only the one counting. But, you know, it's a good thing Colson Loveland scored because even if the Bears got fairly deep into Bengals territory at the end, would you have felt comfortable with Cairo Santos kicking if it was outside of a 40-yarder at this rate? I
No,
wouldn't.
and I mean that would have been what a 53-yard field goal if they would have 52 if they would have tackled Loveland.
Assuming they didn't get another play in, yeah, it would be right about there. It would have been about the same spot where Cairo Santos hit against the Packers last year at the end of the season, but uh I mean the leg is just looking weaker and weaker, and I really can't sit here and say Jake Moody is going to be a savior, but at least you can look at him and be like, you know what? I think he can at least kick to the back of the end zone.
I mean, you gotta you don't have a guy that's a guy like you got to go with the hot hand, and Jake Moody is the hot hand right now.
Right. I mean, he's got a leg. It's just the inconsistency in the accuracy. With Cairo Santos, it's always been the accuracy, but not the power. But at least in his heyday, like when Cairo Santos was doing really, really well, he never had a strong leg. But at least, it's like, okay, if it's 50 yards or less, like you pretty much know he's going to make it. Whereas now, you don't even feel comfortable past the 40 or the 45. So I do think you have to make a call there because it's just been evident in a number of games that the leg really just isn't there anymore. And I mean, everything counts. Every possession, every moment, special teams, they go to show how they could flip a game pretty quickly. Whether it's a return, whether it's return coverage, whether it's kicking, whether it's punting, one special teams play can flip an entire game. And I also want to make a point too. You mentioned the return game with Devin Duvernay. He had a great return the one time, but guess what? It was called back by a flag. So it's like you finally got a good return, committed a penalty on it. So don't forget that penalties were also a part of the special teams too.
This was the first game this season the Bears didn't have more penalty yards than their opponent.
Isn't that nice?
It's not by much though. The Bengals were 7 for with 49 yards, and the Bears were 7 with 43 yards.
Well, yeah, and you mentioned it before. That offside on that missed field goal, that ended up being huge.
Oh yeah, I mean it was a close one too. I mean he was definitely offsides, but uh, that was a huge play.
Yeah,
Um,
and then wasn't it it was the intentional grounding, right? They didn't call it right away, and then they eventually did on
yeah,
Joe
the Bears
Flacco.
threw a fit. That was frustrating. I mean, but that's around the league. They hate calling intentional grounding. Like
Oh, I
you
know.
have to beg for it. What really got me, there was two absolutely blatant offensive pass interference calls on T. Higgins that they didn't call, where he two-hand shoved the cornerback and they did not call it either time. One resulted in a touchdown. The other one was an incomplete pass in the end zone. But how do they not call it when he two-hand shoves the defensive back?
Well, what's so frustrating about that, and I feel like we've talked about this issue every week, is the fact that the Bears do so much less defensively, or offensively, I should say, and get called for offensive pass interference.
It's like there's a memo that goes around. It's really frustrating. But I want to back up a little bit. Earlier this week, I mean, the Bears have been absolutely decimated in the backfield, their cornerback room.
Hmm.
Um, we know Jalen Johnson out for at least most of the season, if not the entire season. We were without Spider-Man for the first couple weeks. He comes back and then he re-injures or new injury, and he's on IR now, so he's going to miss at least 4 games. Tyreek Stevenson has a shoulder injury, and it did not look like he was fully healthy today.
No, no, it didn't.
Um, and then Josh Blackwell got a concussion today. So you go out and you sign CJ Gardner Johnson, who as Bears fans we hate. But now that he's in a Bears uniform, I'm like, all right, I kind of like the guy. I made an about face with him. Um, and he came in today. I mean, he's got familiarity with both the defensive coordinator and the defensive backs coach. So they felt comfortable with him coming in and playing most of the game. Um, and I think he played pretty well. But there was my favorite moment today was a Bengals player caught a ball, ran out of bounds on the Bears sideline, and then started jawing with CJ Gardner Johnson. I'm like, not the guy, not the guy, not the guy to do that with.
Yeah, he's definitely a guy if he's not on your team you don't like. But when he's on your team, you're like, okay, I kind of like that he's an asshole. And he knows he's an asshole.
I mean,
As long as you're not doing anything stupid or dirty.
do you remember when he was on the Saints and played the Bears?
Oh, yeah, with Javon Wims. I remember that very well.
Oh my God. But it was funny. I'm like, is he really gonna jaw with CJ? I was like, not gonna win that one. Just not gonna win
Nope.
that one.
Nope.
But yeah, I mean, it came up big. I mean that cornerback room is absolute shambles, and so bringing him in, uh, is going to be helpful. Um, and
I'm one of the best guys available, right? I mean, in terms of not acquiring via trade.
yes, I mean the other option, was a trade was Jair Alexander,
No
and
thanks.
he's kind of washed. So I,
Yeah,
I
no,
think
I'll
I
pass on
think
that
that
one.
was a good signing. Um, let's see some thoughts. Uh, Kyle McMunungai from Stupid Rutgers looked great.
He had one of the best days as a rookie running back for the Chicago Bears in the history. The famous ground pound Chicago Bears, and Kyle Monangai had one of the better games you'll see from a rookie Bears running back. And everybody came in thinking this is his day to shine. You were facing a very bad Bengals run defense, and he delivered. He absolutely delivered. He runs with determination. And as cliche as that sounds, like that is a guy that will go full head of steam and he will fight every tooth and nail to get that extra yard or two. And he runs hard. He runs just with conviction. And we saw it all day today. And when he gets open, some open space, he kind of glides a little bit. He's not like a huge speedster, but he's able to kind of just accelerate a little bit. And when there's guys, coming at him, he's able to kind of bounce and maneuver some of that. It was a really impressive day by him today.
Yeah, I mean, what 176 yards, 6.8 yards per carry,
Hmm.
and and it wasn't like, oh, a bunch of, 1-0, 1 and 2 yard gains and then a bunch of big runs to he was consistently moving that pile. And I can only think of like one, maybe two times where he got brought down on initial contact. The rest of it is he took the pile and just pushed it, and a couple other times where he just lowered his shoulder and took out the defender. Um, DeAndre Swift might not get that job back.
Well, I mean, I think you could do some complementary football. I still Andre Swift going to the outside a bit more, whereas Kyle Monangai, you can kind of run between the tackles a little more with him, I think. One thing I also want to point out is the lead blocking did a pretty good job in the game, right? When because you saw Theo Benedette early on with a really nice lead run block, and a lot of that goes to Ben Johnson. So, you know, a great effort from the running back and well schemed by your coach and your offense.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And they needed that run game. Um, so that was great. And you saw Britton Brown come in because he was elevated because Roshan Johnson is out. Obviously DeAndre Swift is out. So you needed that second running back. And he got some carries in that one drive and ended up with a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
So that was good. Uh, Ben Johnson out there full effect with the trick plays today.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I mean, a bunch of them. He was ready today. That bag of tricks was deep.
And they all should have worked except the one with Roma Dunze, who I want to get to Roma Dunze in a little bit. So we'll get back to that one. But I mean, you had Caleb Williams catch a touchdown, catch multiple passes, caught one from Tyson Bagent, DJ Moore with a passing touchdown. Those were some pretty trick plays, and they were well executed too. Like, you remember how many times in the past we'd see the Bears try a trick play, and sure, sometimes it would work, but it would look a little ugly, or it just wouldn't work at all. Where this is like, oh, that looks like what the Lions did with Ben Johnson for the last several years. That's what we wanted to see, and we saw it.
Yeah, it was nice to see. Um, you felt you felt that they were smooth and polished and they had worked on them and you saw perfection there. You even saw on the touchdown reception by Caleb Williams, um, he he pretended like he was going to block and or stop and then when he saw the defender was going to run past him, then he started his run, ran into the end zone. So there was no way that guy was going to run with him. And that was a fourth down. That was a fourth and goal. And they go to trick play with DJ Moore throwing a touchdown pass to Caleb Williams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that was ballsy. I love it.
Um, I, I'm getting tired of drops. Cole Kmet
Yes.
had a drop earlier. Roma Dunze
Uh-huh.
had a drop. Um, Roma Dunze for playing against a team that was bad. I mean, Roma Dunze had a great game blocking. We'll not argue that. As a receiver, just invisible.
He had three
Invisible.
targets and no yards. Only three targets the entire game. Can I give you a little bit of a hot take here?
Sure.
I think it's good they didn't target him a lot because you know what? I like Roma Dunze, but he's had some unacceptable drops for a top 10 pick.
Oh,
And it
absolutely.
happened it happened last week and it happened on the first trick play today.
Yep.
And you know what? Maybe that sends a message to him. Maybe that's a wake-up call.
I want Roma Dunze to do what T. Higgins did today. Make those
Yeah.
contested catches.
Yes.
Make those.
Yeah, I mean, look, T. Higgins today, he had two touchdowns And how many yards? Let's see. I just lost it.
A
Okay,
lot.
so he had two touchdowns and 121 yards. And Jamar Chase, 111 yards receiving. Like those two, like those are elite wideouts. When we talk about blue chip players, those are two blue chips on an offense. And we want Roma Dunze to be a blue chip. And his route running is great. The overall numbers coming to this game on the season looked very, very good. You mentioned it before, the blocking. He's done a good job there. But some of these drops, man, like they just can't happen. That play early in the game, that trick play that he dropped, cannot happen. Last week, or 2 weeks ago, I should say 2 weeks ago. Remember the pass? It was towards the end of the first half. It was when the Bears were up huge and they really could have put the game away on the Saints, and it was third and long. Caleb rolls out to his right and he fires a dart at the first down marker, and Romadunze couldn't come around with it. Do you remember that pass?
Yep.
Like the number 9 pick needs to catch that. Even last week, wasn't there that one low throw that he didn't catch? It wasn't easy, but again, an elite wideout makes that catch. And I just you need to see that. You need to see him, and I really hope that him not getting targeted a lot today was a bit of a wake up call for him. Don't do what you're doing with the blocking. Keep the elite route running. You got the good rapport with him, but you need to make some of those catches.
Yeah, he has to. He has to start making those. If this offense wants to take a step forward. And this offense did a whole lot today. I mean, what
Oh yeah.
500 something yards of offense, um and 47 points. Like that was and it was sloppy. It was a sloppy effort that I had a lot of problems with, and they still scored 47 points.
Yeah, I mean, you look at everything. Look at DJ Moore. He had 72 yards. He had a nice day. Alameda Zacchaeus had 58 yards and a touchdown. So you were able to at least spread the ball around a little bit, even if you weren't using Roma Dunze. So that's nice to see. But yes, there are things to critique and look at. You are right.
Yeah. So Roma Dunze needs to take a big step up. And another problem I have is we'll get to Caleb Williams in a minute, but let's talk about the rest of the offense a little bit. When Caleb rolls out, it happens a lot. Like he escapes that first defender, and then he rolls out and he's throwing on the run, and they're not getting those completions. They're on the sidelines, they're contested. Why are they not having a scheme for what to do when he rolls out? Because it happens so often. Why aren't receivers coming back and breaking their route? Why don't you have receivers? Like I keep saying this is one guy should just keep going deep. Just roll to the same side that Caleb is on and just go deep. And force the defender to bring somebody with the defense to bring somebody with him. Somebody's got to come back to the ball. And there needs to be a scheme for what to happen when the play starts to break down. You just don't have that. And he ends up throwing it on the sideline and it gets broken up. And it's frustrating because you're like, what's the point of him, you know, uh, breaking that contain and avoiding the sack if you're not getting that completion? It's really frustrating to see week in and week out.
Yeah, I mean, those scramble drills, they just, you know, nothing good is really going to happen when you see the trying to buy time. Listen, Ben Johnson's done a real good job of getting this scheme, getting guys open when he's in the pocket or there's a design play. But on some of these scrambles today, even, there were a few where you're like, well, yes, Caleb could have taken off and run, but if he's looking to pass, there weren't people open.
I,
That
I got
happened
a little
several times today.
I got frustrated with the broadcast crew, Adam Archuleta, former Bear Adam Archuleta. He kept saying, "Oh, I want to see Caleb Williams scramble there," and I'm like, "To
Every
where?"
single time.
I'm like, to some of them, you're like, "Okay, I saw that," but like most of the time, where are you going? Like the one time Caleb had a defender coming in, and he did that thing where he like, uh, he runs back and then makes a cut and avoids it. And you're like, where is he supposed to go? Like maybe he picks up two, and either's gonna. I mean, if you wanted to get positive yards, he's gonna have to get hit. If he slides, he's probably gaining a yard or two. I'm like, do you want him to keep doing that or look down the field? Like we get mad when he's not looking down the field. Where I want to see Caleb get better is the game needs to slow down still. Is we if you watch the highlights from other games, let your playmakers make plays. You don't have to do it all. Is It's okay if you dump it off to your your outlet, your safety valve, because as long as you make an accurate throw, let them make plays. There's so many times where like, all right, if you get it to a guy that can break a tackle, that that little 4 yard completion could become a 10 yard completion or a 15 yard completion with just a simple uh, breaking of a tackle. Just give them the opportunity. It's better than an incomplete pass, even if you only get the 4 yards. Use use your dump off. Be be okay with it. Sure, watch for the downfield. Like, I know in this offense, you want big chunk plays, but until you are a well oiled machine, just keep moving the chains.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think one of the things that I think Caleb needs work on is it's some of the footwork with some of the throws in the pocket. It just feels like he's a little too squeamish in the pocket, and we see some of those inaccurate throws where I think when he's on it like a designed rollout, like a bootleg, and he throws strikes. We saw
Yes.
one to Colson Loveland today where he just threw an absolute dart roll on a rollout. That's not a scramble. We're not talking about scrambles. We're talking about designed rollouts where he's rolling out of the pocket and he's looking at his options downfield. That is where Caleb has really, really exceeded. Where in the pocket, you know, sometimes, and I want to get your opinion on this. We've seen in the pocket where some of the throws aren't accurate because, well, the footwork isn't very good. And then there are times where he either misses somebody or he doesn't see somebody on a read. And I guess my question for you is, and I want to see how valid you think this opinion might be. Are there times where he's in the pocket where he doesn't hit somebody because he just can't see them? He's not that tall of a guy.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely true. I mean, like who's the shortest offensive lineman? Um, I mean, let's go through.
Yeah, that's a good
Uh,
question.
is what How tall is Drew Dahlman? Drew Dahlman height. Drew Dahlman is 6'3". Uh, Theo Benedette height 6'7". Let's see. Joe Tooney height. Joe Tooney 6'5". Jonah Jackson height. Jonah Jackson 6'3", and Darnell Wright is 6'5". So, everybody is at least 3 inches taller than you, and some of them 5, 7 inches taller than you. And they're very wide people. And the defensive linemen are playing with their hands up. and you you don't have you don't also on top of that, you haven't had clean pockets. You still are struggling on pass protection. Caleb Williams did not have clean pockets to throw to today. I think had he had a clean pocket, you would have seen the Bears just run away with this game.
Yeah, because he was scrambling a lot today.
Yeah, I mean, and not a lot of hits or sacks, but there was guys were getting through. That offensive line is run blocking pretty well, but man, the pass block still has a lot to be significantly improved from last year, but still something to be desired. Um, and uh, so you don't have these good passing lanes to throw through, and then you have a hard time seeing over. So yeah, when we're looking at it from the all 22 view or whatever the camera view is from the television, we're like, oh my God, that guy's wide open. But then you go down to what Caleb's view is, and he might not see them.
Right.
I try to describe it.
It's very easy to look at the overhead view on TV.
I try to describe it as like, my car, I drive a Honda Fit, and the like the metal piece, or like the piece that attaches to your windshield, um it's it gives me a blind spot. So depending on where I stop, like I have a blind spot of this, the crosswalk, like at the edge, where if there's somebody there getting ready to cross, I can't see them. So I have to, when I come to intersections, I have to look before I get there because I can't see them. And I'm like, it's a design flaw. Like, but in the NFL, like you're gonna get something like that too with your offensive linemen. And that's why it's frustrating when they don't roll Caleb Williams out a lot, especially when he's getting this pressures. Roll him out, cut the field in half, let him let him be able to get a passing lane and get him on the move. Focus on one or two hot reads and take the run if he has to. Like it just simplifies things, keeps the offense moving. And I'm not saying do it all the time because obviously defenses are going to scheme for that, but incorporate it more into what you're trying to do. And I don't understand why Ben Johnson's so adamant about not.
Yeah, I don't know. It's one thing I've kind of wondered on a number of times. But what's nice is even with all the issues, you still put up 47 points. And you've never in the history of your franchise, the 100 plus history of the Chicago Bears franchise, have they won a game where they gave up 42 or more points until today? Isn't that wild?
That the Ben Johnson effect. I mean, do they win this game under Flus?
No, no,
Absolutely not.
no,
There's zero chance.
no. You think they're scoring 47? I don't think so. I
They
know
might
the
give up.
Bengals
They might give up 42.
Sure, sure. You know, I didn't realize until after the game just how many passing yards Joe Flacco had today.
Oh yeah. I mean, what's funny is one of the announcers at one point said something like, "Oh, well, Joe Burrow is going to be back in not too much longer." Like, no, this is not a dig on Joe Burrow, but what the hell is he going to do beyond what Joe Flacco did? Joe Flacco has got this offense humming. It's that defense that's atrocious. Like, can Joe
Yeah,
Burrow play cornerback?
maybe he'll have to. I mean, you remember last week? They scored 38 points and blew a game to the Jets. The Jets.
The Jets, the worst team in football.
Yes. So you had Joe Flacco go out there, helps put you up 38 points last week, you lose, and then you have this amazing comeback, you put up 42, you still lose. Like that would I rather have Joe Burrow as my quarterback? Yes. But Joe Burrow being out right now is not really the main reason you're saying.
Yeah, Joe Burrow is not. And sure you would love to have Joe Burrow, but um, your offense is not the issue. It is not the issue, and it's hilarious that they were trying to make it seem like things were going to turn around because uh, you got you're getting Joe Burrow back in a couple weeks. Like that is not the issue at all in the least.
Right. Now, when you look at what Joe Flacco does today, he really is just the perfect example of what you would want in a veteran quarterback. He's just putting the ball where the guys are. He
He's got
knows that he
such a
can,
good touch on that deep ball too.
he does. He does. And he knows exactly where to go with it. He knows that T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, as long as he puts it in the right spot, they're going to get it. He knows where to put it and he knows how to do it. And I mean, man, like I said, I knew he obviously had a huge day passing yards. I'm thinking, okay, maybe 370, 380 yards, maybe 390, close to 400 yards. And then I look up
Close to
and
500.
yeah, 470 yards. 470 freaking passing yards.
Yeah, it was bad. Um, I can't believe how poor. I mean, how porous the defense was.
Was
It,
that one of
it
the worst defensive games by a Bears team in a long time? I mean, I guess you could say the Lions game, but was worse. But other than that, I mean, this was up
it
there.
it was the worst defensive performance I've seen in a long time, where they weren't running on you.
Right. Well, that's the thing. Yeah, they didn't run for shit on you. They had, I'm looking at the numbers here. You know how many yards? They had 46 total rushing yards. The Bears
They
had 238. The Bengals had 46.
they didn't even attempt that many, I don't think.
No, they didn't. I mean, I if you count, Joe Flacco had one technical carry, but the most you had one carry by Brooks, one carry by Isovis, one by Perrin. Chase Brown was the leading rusher with 11 carries. And he had 37 yards on 11 carries, averaging 3.4 yards per attempt. That was it. The longest run you gave up was 12 yards. You gave up a 12-yard run, and that accounted for a good chunk of your total 46 rushing yards. Meanwhile, like I said, the Bears had 283 rushing yards, averaging 7.6 yards a carry, while the Bengals averaged 3.1 yards of their few carries.
Yeah, it was it that was the worst performance I've seen where they didn't where you the opponent wasn't rushing all over them on the run game. Like it was, you know, you until the second half, you didn't get a ton of pressure on Joe Burrow. The tackling was bad. Um, and I felt like Noah Sewell was out of place a lot,
Hmm.
especially when they were trying to run some cover two play. He just was out of position. They were, they were giving up the contested passes. They were letting those go through. It was just not a good performance by the Bears defense.
No, I mean, there was just so many guys wide open. And again, guys like Chase and Higgins can get open on their own or outmatch you on their own because they're elite. But look at some of the other plays throughout that game, too. Later in the game, I believe it was the fourth quarter. It was like the time was ticking towards the end of the fourth quarter. Not quite there. It was maybe mid fourth quarter. Do you remember when they were finally getting some pass rush? Montez Sweat had a sack. They had third and 16, and Joe Flacco just no pressure whatsoever, just threw a nice, easy 18-yard pass to easily convert.
Yep. That man's got ice water in his veins. I will stand on this. Joe Flacco is better than Eli Manning.
You're probably right.
I will stand on that. If you
I mean, look what he's done the past few years. It's better than what we saw at the end of Manning's career.
That's what drives me crazy when people are like, "Oh, Eli Manning should be in the Hall of Fame." Should he? Should he? You're putting it on the
He
fact that he won 2 Super Bowls.
and the name.
Yeah, and the name.
Like he
Uh,
will be in the Hall of Fame. You can definitely debate whether he deserves it or not, but I hear you.
um, yeah. So the Bears, there's a lot of things that they did right. But there's a lot of things that need to get cleaned up. A lot of things. And all you can say is, you know, the end of the game, when it came down, it looked like the Bears were gonna shit the bed and not be able to do it. And you get that big run by Caleb, and then the absolutely awesome throw to Colston Loveland, who then broke a tackle and then runs, for the touchdown, which was awesome to see. Colston Loveland had himself a game.
Yep. I mean, you had two rookies break out, and both of them had their first career touchdowns in the NFL, Monungai and Colson Loveland. Colson Loveland had two touchdowns, over 100 yards receiving. And remember, Cole Kmet went out, what was it, midway through the game, sometime around there?
Yeah, with a
And
concussion.
yeah, and that was one of those moments where Caleb threw a little off balance, and because of that, Komet had to go high and reel it in, and that caused a collision. But I mean, after he goes out, it was almost like Colson Loveland kind of sent a message like, "Yeah, I'm here." And honestly, I think Cole Komet's on his way out, and Colson Loveland next year is at number one.
It's hard to justify paying Cole Kmet that money.
It's
It's
just
just
not
hard.
making it.
Um, it's there's he doesn't do enough to warrant it. I agree with you. And I saw you tweeted out that um, you know, people view him like Cubs fans view uh uh what's his
Ian Happ.
name? Ian Happ. And I was like, fair. That's a fair comparison. They're not
And I
bad.
like Ian
It just
Happ more. No.
yeah, it's not that they're bad, it's just you want more. You
Yeah,
need
and
more.
I mean, I like Ian Happ more than I like Cole Kmet. And listen, I don't like dislike Cole Kmet as a dude, and I don't think he's a bad player, but it just he's making money that where he should be putting up much better production than he is. And I mean, again, he had to drop on what, the first target of the game?
Yeah.
He
Yep.
made the nice catch on the other, when he got concussed, but that's another thing where you're like, man, you're a big dude. Why aren't you making more of these contested catches? And, not to stir a little pot here, but if that same throw from Caleb Williams to Colson Loveland on the game winner went to Cole Kmet, do you think he's spinning out and accelerating and going into the end zone? I don't think so.
0%. 0%.
Yeah, I just don't see
At
it happening.
best, you're racing down there to spike the ball to try to kick a field goal.
Ugh, and yeah, much better scenario when you score touchdowns there with the way your special teams is playing.
Um, but Colston Loveland looking good. Kyle Monungai looking good. Um, you
Darnell
know,
Wright, talk about Darnell Wright. You want to talk about a good offensive lineman today?
yeah, yeah. I mean, he was the best offensive lineman for the Bears today.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. I never agree, or rarely agree with the PFF scores of offensive linemen. So it'll be curious to see what they have to say. Theo Benedette had ups and downs. Um, he got called for a holding, which sucked. Uh, but on the run game, he looked good. Joe Tooney looked good. Uh, you know,
The
just
lead blocking looks good.
Drew Dahlman still is not. I mean, the run game good, but pass protection just still. You paid that guy a lot of money. I want more. Want more out of Drew
Yeah.
Dahlman.
Yeah, you definitely do want more. I think that if you look at Drew Dahlman as a whole, you can at least say, okay, his run blocking has been great, but if you're going to make the money you're making, you're going to want a little bit of both. Do I like having him at center more than I have years past what we've had there? Yeah, and that's saying something. Even the weirdness. Remember the weirdness from the Saints game, where like with the snaps, even
Hmm.
with that, and even some of the pass protection that hasn't always been there, it's still better than what we've seen some of the previous years. That's sad to say.
Yeah. But, overall, like the 2025 draft class is starting to look better and better. Um, Colston Loveland looks like a dude. And before the game, Ben Johnson reiterated that he's a dude and they think they got a home run when they drafted him. Kyle Monungai today looked like a dude. Uh,
Yes, he did.
Luke Newman was a late round pick, and um, he's in there on uh, you know some of the special teams, the field goal kicks, and I think he's going to be decent. I think he's going to probably be the guy that replaces Jonah Jackson. Um, Zal Frazier, God, no, who knows what's going on with him.
Les
He's
Shrug.
out for the season with a personal issue. Ruben Hippolyte has played a lot for a guy that's hasn't had a lot of experience and coming from a small, not a big program with not a lot of hype around him. Uh, Shamar Turner hurt. That one sucks. I think Luther Burden's going to be real good. Um, you just got to get him back healthy. And I Ozzy Trapillo is going to be getting, they're going to move him in more and more into you already see him in the big packages and bringing in as a tackle eligible as a second tackle. Like you're seeing them incorporate him. So they're starting to get more trust in him. He's going to fit into their long-term plans. I liked this draft when they made it. I got really suspect about it, during training camp in the beginning part of the season, and I'm starting to grow back into it.
But what I like to think to myself is there's a reason that Monungai and Loveland are Bears, and that reason is Ben Johnson. He sees the way that he can work in an offense. And I mean, today you saw a nice preview of that. And I mean, hey, look at Monungai. He's had other good games before. He had a good game at home against the Saints. And I get it. You're not facing elite teams with some of these big performances. But you know what? If you want to compete, you got to beat team, no matter who it is. Every opponent in the NFL, you have to respect. We say it every single week. You never know in the NFL. And it was a road game. It's hard to win on the road in the NFL. And despite Flacco being 40 years old, you have an elite offense with some of those guys that are on that team, and you need to keep pace. And no matter who you're playing, especially on the road, that's not an easy thing to do. So you got to give him a lot of credit here, and you got to give him credit, like especially from a young guy, just the confidence he runs with and the load because he was getting a lot of work in. That's got to be tough for a young kid in the NFL, his first go around to get that workload like he did today.
Um, yeah, I'm very excited to see what's going to happen now that we see what Kyle Monangai can do. I think you're going to see a much different split. Even when Swift comes back, you're going to see a much different split of carries. And I'm hoping you start to see a differentiation between which types of plays one's in versus the other. Um, I, I, s- I don't want to say gadget guy, but I think Swift, you use him on screenplays and as a slot receiver. I still think he's a very good pass protector. Um, but uh, man, I'm excited about having a running back that can just hit that hole and take a guy with him. Watching that pile move forward rather than backwards is so huge.
Yeah, absolutely. When you talk about gadget guys, I look at how they're using DJ Moore, and the more I watch it, pun intended, there's all these talks and ideas of trading DJ Moore, and I just don't know. Like, we've seen him make multiple. I mean, you remember the touchdown play? The reverse John Fox? Like, that was a great effort.
Yeah, I
Great.
don't want
You're
to
able
trade
to use
him.
him in the slot or screens and just a reliable guy who you know is going to catch the ball.
And plus, I mean, if somebody was like, "Oh, hey, I'll give you a first round pick." All right, I'm probably trading him. Um, but man, I don't think anybody's going to give you the value you deserve for him, and
No.
um, so I'm not trading him, especially now that you're starting to go into, you're gearing up for the hard part of your schedule.
Speaking of which, trade deadline is here.
Yep,
What are we going to do?
nothing.
You don't think they're going to do something?
No. It's so the trade deadline is Tuesday afternoon,
Hmm.
3 o'clock Chicago time. Um,
Mm.
I mean, maybe they'll try to get another defensive back. I don't know what else they're gonna try to do.
You don't think that, I mean, you don't think they're going for another pass rusher or,
Everybody wants a pass rusher.
I
There,
know, I know.
there's, you know, from what I'm hearing is Cleveland is not trading there, dude. He's there. Um,
Well, that would be a king's ransom too, wouldn't it?
well, I mean, uh, the Philadelphia Eagles. The rumor is um that they were willing to trade 3 first rounders plus for him.
Yeah. Oof.
Miles Garrett. I mean, uh if you're the Eagles and you trade for Miles Garrett, like you're looking and that those first rounders are probably going to be 28, 29, 30, 31, 32.
Right.
You trade three of those for Miles Garrett. Miles Garrett, who had what 5.5 sacks in his last game.
He's insane, man.
He he had 5 times as many sacks in that game as Dio Odengbo had all season.
Ugh, don't remind me. What the hell was that signing, man?
But
What was that?
Miles Garrett is so damn good. It's unreal.
And it's a shame that he's wasting away.
Yeah, but he's making a lot of money.
True.
A lot of money.
Yeah.
That makes things better.
Yes, money definitely does help. It does help. It's a shame as a football fan that he doesn't have a chance to play in a Super Bowl.
Um, yeah, I mean, he signed a 4 year, $160 million contract. Uh, what were his contracts before that? Um, And before that, he had 5 years, 125 million. Before that, 4 year, 30 million. So at 30, 155, and so like $320 million. I'm all right with that. I can take losing.
That is a shit ton of money.
I can take losing on the football field because I'm winning at life.
Yes, yeah, yeah. You're set for life. Your kids are set. Man,
Yeah, I mean, uh, it's it's crazy. Um, yeah, like let's see, his rookie year total compensation with his signing bonus and everything, 20.7 million. Then 1.8, 2.1, 21.9, 21.7, 19, 17.25, 20.25, 26.8. Then next year, 31.5, 41.7, 24.8, 40, and 40. So he'll career total earnings if he plays through his 30 year 35 age, which I would assume he will, 329 $329,573,009. Yeah, I can live with
shit
that.
ton of money. Yeah, yeah, shit ton of money.
But I
But
mean,
I mean, yeah,
you look at the edge rushers that are worth anything, and you're going to be paying a king's ransom for because everybody is looking for edge rush help. Um,
yeah. No, you're right. And I'm not saying they're gonna get anybody, but you try for something,
I mean, I'm sure
or
they'll
do
at
you
least
think?
reach out, but I don't, what the expectation is. I mean, you could go after Chubb from the Dolphins. Uh, um, Miles Garrett is apparently not on the market. Um, yeah, I don't know what else. Um, I mean, maybe they try to get a cornerback. Um, I don't know. I don't know. Um, PFF is reporting that the Bears could be buyers and sellers at the deadline. Um,
That's you're 5-3. You have to try to add, right? Even if
I,
you're probably not going to the playoffs still.
I mean, I'm probably not breaking the bank to trade for anybody, but um,
No.
you wanna try to win. I mean, I wonder if
Right,
Braxton
right.
Jones is somebody that they would consider trading,
For
knowing that
what?
you have Ozzie Trapil. I mean, a guy that started that
Subway
many games at
coupon?
left tackle. Uh, I mean, he's a guy you're not going to re-sign.
No, I
Um,
mean I don't mind doing it at all. I'm just saying you're not going to get anything in return, but
I don't know. I mean, a pick is a pick. I mean, look, we all went, oh man, they got nothing for Khalil Herbert. Guess what they got for Khalil Herbert? Kyle Manungai.
that's true. So we can have two stupid Rutgers players.
Um, but I mean, the left tackles are always in demand. So maybe surprise you get something for him. Guy that started a lot of games.
Now,
Uh,
here's the thing. Here's an honest question though. If you trade Braxton Jones and God forbid something happens to Theo Benedict, somebody gets hurt.
it's Trapillo.
You ready to have him be your primary tackle over there?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it depends. I mean, I'm not in on these practices. That's that's up to Ben Johnson uh and our GM. Like Ryan Poles and Ben Johnson are gonna have to make a decision. Hey, are we comfortable with Trapillo stepping in and being the swing tackle? Um, if not, then there's no sense in trading Braxton Jones. Uh, but if they feel comfortable with him, then you reach out and see what you can get. And you're not going to give him away, obviously, because he's not making that much money and he's going to be off your books. But uh, it's I think it's worthwhile to at least explore.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, because, the whole thing with like DJ Moore, and I do kind of get the premise of, hey, if you have some redundancy or just an area where you don't need a certain player, but you need somewhere else, and you could exchange something for higher a need, I totally get it. I really, really do. I just don't think, I mean, the problem with DJ Moore not only is do I think he's important for this offense, and he's quietly showed that the past few weeks, but the dead cap is really, really high if you trade DJ Moore. So, yeah, maybe it would make sense for a Braxton Jones type player. I mean, the Khalil Herbert was last year, right? Or was that 2 years ago?
Ooh, well, I think it might have been last year.
Yeah,
I could.
you might be right, but either way, that was another area where like, okay, if you're not going to use him, then why have him? So maybe there is a scenario there, and I I get that we're not going to be going out and making a huge splash. They're not in position to do that. They're not going to be winning anything meaningful in January, most likely. But I do think you need to add some sort of piece here where it can help you in the short and long term future.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think that they'll probably try to go after another cornerback. Um, that's I don't know what else that they'll be trading for. I mean, sure they'll try to look for some defensive line help. I don't know what's available. Um, I don't know where else you try to go mid-season. Maybe a tight end if Cole Kmet's going to be out for a bit. My dude Mercedes Lewis is no longer available. He signed
No, he's not. Where did he sign with again?
Texans.
That's right.
Oh wait, is it? He played today. No, 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 no. Broncos.
Oh, it
Broncos.
was the Broncos.
Yeah, they
Well,
played the Texans.
they played the Texans, right? Because I saw a headline like, "Oh, signed and Texans." I'm like, "Oh, he's going to the Texans," but they were playing the Texans and they signed him for that game. So, yeah, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, Mercedes Lewis, elevated from the practice squad, debuted at 41 years and 11 months, becoming the oldest player in Broncos history and the NFL's oldest tight end to appear in a game.
Oldest tight end to appear in a game, huh? Oh, good for
Hmm.
him. I guess if anybody would do it, it would be Mercedes Lewis.
I love Mercedes Lewis. And apparently he had some key blocks today.
That's our guy.
Mercedes Lewis, love him. Hope he plays forever. Can you imagine he just loves the game that much and he's like about to turn 42 next month and I'm gonna keep playing. It's cool.
The Jamie Moyer of football. Let's go.
Yeah, so I don't I still see they're gonna be out searching for cornerback. I think they need it, especially with Blackwell getting a concussion that they're in desperate need for more
Ugh,
cornerback help. Um,
it's crazy how banged up they are there.
oh, I know. It's insane. That's going to be their primary focus. Yeah, I mean, you'd love to get an edge rusher. I just don't see that as really realistic,
It'd be tough.
especially when the Eagles are out there like hunting.
With their claws, their big talons, come down and just swipe everything.
So next week we have the New York Football Giants. Um, and I
At
don't think
home.
that, yeah, that's they're not a bad team. They're a much different team now that my man Cam Scatabo is out for the season.
You
Who
were
are they?
so ready to go to that game. Be honest, but go Cam Scataboo.
Cam Nagurski.
That man's a meatball for the Bears and Cam Scataboo. What the hell is going on?
But I mean that team is 2-7, but I don't think they're
They're
that bad.
scoring. They're scoring with
They,
Jackson Dart.
they are. Um, and he's not gonna be a statue in there. He's athletic. Uh, but I mean, let's see. Looking at their games. What was the first game Jackson Dart went in? Was it the Giants?
The first, you
Patriots?
mean
No,
when he made his debut
yeah,
this year? Yeah.
yeah.
So his first game was against
Chargers?
Los Angeles.
Okay.
Yes.
So they beat the Chargers, who are at second place in their division.
Hmm.
They lost to the Saints, which is bad. Then they got blown out by the Eagles. Uh,
No, they
they put
blew
up.
out the Eagles.
Oh, you're right. You're right. You're right. They blew out the Eagles. They lost by one to the Broncos, but they put up 32 points.
Well, that was that big game they blew, which you can't blame that all on Jackson Dart.
But then they got blown out the next time against the Giants or the Eagles.
Correct.
And they
Lost to the San
lost to the
Francisco today.
San Francisco today.
Yep.
So, you know, you're gonna have to take advantage. You're gonna have to confuse. I think they're gonna do that where they come up and they put like 10 guys right on the line and drop back into coverage. They're gonna try to confuse Jackson Dart.
Yep.
Especially you don't have their number one wide receiver and they're down their number one running back. You're gonna force him to beat you with the arm. Um, and you know, I kind of consider this a must-win game because right now you're in win stacking mode before you get into that shit part of your schedule.
Yeah. No, and I mean, like I said, you're at home. Uh, the Giants won't have Malik Neighbors or Cam Scattaboo. So, yeah, I'm with you. This might be the second most favorable matchup at home. The first was the Saints. The Saints are beyond terrible. To your point, I don't think the Giants are that terrible, but I still think you got to beat them at home. And you do have that advantage of them missing some of their weapons, but I don't think it's a gimme. It's definitely not a gimme, but it's one you really do want to win.
Yeah, I mean you sort of have to because that would put you at 6-3 um, before going and playing the Vikings, who looked really good today.
Oh, yeah, they went into Detroit and JJ McCarthy looked like a high draft pick today. That was an unexpected impressive win for the Viking. And now the Vikings are in it because you thought, okay, they're 3-4. If they lose the Lions, they're 3-5. They're probably screwed, but now they're not. So it's gonna
Nobody
be
in the
tough.
NFC North has a losing record.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Packers are first with a 5-2-1. Lions 5-3. Bears 5-3. Vikings 4-4. Uh, so they're the only division in the NFL where every team uh nobody has a losing record.
Wild.
So I mean, yeah, they're back in this, and that Bears schedule suddenly just sucks more. So after that, after the Giants, it is uh, you know, it starts getting rough where you've got Vikings and Steelers and Packers twice, and uh, it's a rough schedule.
It is. It's a very rough schedule. But you got to take one game at a time, and the only one that matters is the only upcoming one, and that's the Giants next week at Soldier Field.
Yep.
And it's funny because it feels like, man, their first two of their first three games were at Soldier Field, but like since then they've had one. It just with a bye week on top of that, it feels like they've barely played at Soldier Field.
Um, yeah, I mean that'll be nice. Get back at home. But man, that schedule is brutal. And
Yes, it is.
the only team after the the Giants and that Giants defensive front, their defense is terrible. I don't know how because that defensive line it will get after you. The Caleb is going to be running for his life.
Hmm.
And the only other just game against a bad team that you have on this schedule after that game is the Browns, and you're going to be facing Myles Garrett. There's no more gimmies on this schedule after the Giants, and the Giants isn't even a gimme. Like
No.
that is that's your best chance to get a victory there is before Vikings, Steelers, Eagles, Packers, Browns, Packers, 49ers, Lions.
Eesh.
You know,
Talk about a juggernaut.
uh this, Ben Johnson post game before his chant, um, good, better, best, is he said it's five. And there's no, there's no easy wins and you fight for every win. And this is the NFL. Every win is hard. Every win is hard.
Never apologize. And he said that in the locker room.
Um, and so they're at five. And I know after the early start, we were like, everyone was like, well, last year we had that, and then Flus lost 10 in a row. Well, guess what? No more losing 10 in a row. We got our ass kicked by the Ravens, and that sucked. But guess what? The Ravens have turned that corner, and you're going to see them go on a run.
Yeah, I think with Lamar back and some of their guys healthy, they're playing like a confident bunch again.
You're going to see them go on a run. It's not as embarrassing a loss as it was. We just needed to catch them 1 week earlier. Uh, but um, you know, it's there's clearly not going to be 10 in a row. We lost one in a row, went back on the winning streak. So we're on a winning streak. Can't take that away. Now you got to build on it. Got to build on it.
Yep. Special teams, you need to be a fuck lot better.
Oh, yeah. Richard Hightower's got to be like, man, it was nice having a job because NFL is about to stand for not for long if his squad doesn't get better.
Much better. I mean, we talked about how bad the special teams was last week too. We've been talking about it since the preseason.
Yeah, it's been atrocious. You can't you know, you can't have special teams be bad week in and week out, especially when you're a team that is still learning their offense and with a banged up defense. This is You've got to win at all three phases, and you need that. You have a bad unit of special teams and keep overcoming that week in and week out.
Hmm.
Um, so, yeah, Bears, I'm very happy for a victory. There's just a whole lot more that they need to do. And I'm hoping this is a turning the corner because Caleb, Caleb did a lot of good things today. But there's the things that he just still needs to do better. It's just got to be the processing faster. It's got to be making more decisions faster, dumping it off faster, getting the ball out faster. Negate some of that pass rush with just getting the ball out quick. Um, and but dropping 47 points in that huge comeback at the end, that goes a long way in your confidence.
Absolutely. It's another game-winning drive for Caleb on the road.
Absolutely. And those,
He's got several of them.
pretty soon we'll be talking about when that comes in. But the Caleb Williams is leading the NFL in fourth quarter comebacks.
Wouldn't that be nice? It was actually, I will say this, during the crash out of the disaster at the end of the game for the Bears on defense and special teams, or it looks like they were going to be leaving with yet another historic loss. With 50 whatever seconds left, I was sitting there quietly thinking, I think Caleb's going to drive him down. I believed that Caleb was capable of driving them down, and he did. The confidence I have in Caleb doing that, I can't say that for pretty much any other quarterback we've had in this town.
I mean, you know, it sucked at the end when you saw the first couple downs and they're like, oh man, this is not looking good. I just don't get the concern that he's going to turn the ball over. It may not work out. He may make a bad decision or a bad throw. I'm I just don't typically worry he's going to throw an interception, which is good.
Yep. It happened
Um,
last week, but
that was rare.
that was rare. Yeah.
Even when he throws interceptions, usually they're not ones that are going to kill you. Um,
Correct.
they're basically like a punt. Oh, he threw one 30 yards down the field. Okay, well, that was third down. Early punt. Um, with Jay Cutler, who, man, that guy needs some help. Uh, but Jay Cutler, a lot of interceptions late, and it was frustrating. And then Justin Fields, that guy, and I don't want to pile on because he made himself really vulnerable this week. He crumbled under the pressure. That offense just crumbled because he just could not handle it.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Ugh. All right, where should we go from here?
Before we get to Bulls, because I think we need to talk Bulls, just a little quick news here. This is baseball. PCA, Ian Happ, Nico Horner winning Gold Gloves. So
Yes,
big congrats to them. Well deserved.
very well deserved. Happy for
That's
them.
awesome. Yep. Yep. Good for them. So I wanted to share a little bit of that news. Quickly on the subject of baseball, did you watch that game seven?
I did. I I was so rooting for the Blue Jays. Um, the Dodgers just, man, the guys that we all know Otani, but the guys that came up big at the end of that game were just such unsung, unexpected heroes.
Miguel Rojas hitting the game
Miguel
tying home run.
Rojas tying that up, like you just, when that happened, I was like, there's 0% chance the Blue Jays are winning this.
And then the Blue Jays had a chance to win it. I mean,
Vladdy in the bottom of the ninth hit that one and just missed it. I
just
mean,
missed it.
just
Just
missed
missed
it.
it.
He would have sealed the deal, been a national hero, would have won World Series MVP, and just missed it. And you
Yep.
can't blame
And
anything
then
on Vladdy. He was so good
no.
in this series.
Yeah, he hit that leadoff double that got stranded to end the game.
That defensive play at first base,
Yep.
uh, like just he had a great game or a great series and great whole playoffs. Like, big ups to him.
Him and Ernie Clement, the kid that broke the postseason record for hits. If you are a Toronto fan, you got to be just sicker than sick, right?
I mean, you brought the Los Angeles Dodgers to the brink.
You had them though.
You had them.
You had them. You had them in game six. Did you see how game six ended?
Yeah, that was tough.
Two on, nobody out, both in scoring position, and then the double play. You have a 3-0 lead in game seven. You just miss a walk-off homer. You were two outs away from winning. You had bases loaded, one out, and you missed the game World Series winning run by millimeters. And then that catch where they ran into each other, where Pajes Kike Hernandez on a ball that just kept sailing. I mean, you had them on multiple occasions. And here's Yoshinobu Yamamoto coming in after pitching how many innings the day before and getting grinding through those outs. It was just insane. Toronto had that. That is as heartbreaking as it gets if you're
It was
Toronto.
it was wild that essentially the Dodgers went, we're just going to pitch all for game seven. We're just going to pitch all of our starters on short rest.
Yeah, because what they had Glass now and Snell in there as well coming in.
Otani, Glasnow, Snell, Yamamoto.
Pretty much everybody.
They, um, they put their starters in, and those guys performed. Um, it's what else? What else can you say? It just I felt terrible for the Blue Jays fans. Um,
Yeah.
you know, uh, but congratulations to the Dodgers. Yeah, I think did they pitch every single one of their starters from this series?
Yeah, isn't that wild? Like last year,
Um,
they cobbled together a bullpen because the rotation was hurt. Now they're just using all their starters because their bullpen stunk. Kind of wild.
yeah, every one of their starters.
They're only going to get better. You know that. The Dodgers, right?
They're gonna go out and sign a bunch
They're
of
going to
bullpen
sign
guys.
Kyle Tucker. They're going to sign Kyle Tucker. He's going to be healthy and he's going to be an all-star. You know that, right?
I mean, probably. I mean, where does he? Um, where does he play? Do they uh do they get rid of Teoscar Hernandez?
They'll find a way to get him in. If it's not them, it'll be the Mets or the Yankees.
I mean, I'm hearing the Yankees probably not going to try to spend money or not that kind
No,
of money.
they're not. Hal Steinbrenner's being a bit less like George Steinbrenner, but if there's an opportunity to get a smaller AAV deal, maybe. But
I mean, a smaller
yeah,
AAV deal,
you are
the
right.
Cubs are going to get that. I mean,
No,
it's I don't know. The Dodgers, it's
I
probably
think
going to
the
be the
Cubs are gonna,
Dodgers.
or the Mets.
Mets, yeah, they don't care. They'll throw money.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, we got a whole off season ahead.
yeah. Um, Bulls finally lost the game today, or they're about to.
Which isn't surprising. It was going to be tough to win both games against the Knicks. The Knicks are loaded, and tonight you didn't have Ayo Dosunmu playing, and you're on the road. Boy, I will say too, the upcoming schedule for the Bulls. You want to talk about tough? Have you seen the upcoming schedule?
Yeah, it's not easy. Um, you've got just like the Bears, you've got a gauntlet ahead of you.
You have
Uh,
Philly at home, then you go to Milwaukee, then you go to Cleveland, then you host the Spurs, where Wembanyama is coming into his own. Then you go to Detroit, you go to Utah, you go to the Nuggets, you go to the Trailblazers, then you host another cup game against the Heat.
yep, yep.
Yeah, so it's a tough schedule coming up, and it'll be a test for you to see how you can do. But I will say that this has been a very, very fun team so far. And while I don't think they're going to be legit contenders, I think a lot of this is going to come back down to earth. I can at least say, hey, there's some pieces here. Like Josh Giddey has really won me over. I
Josh
think that
Giddey has been great.
he has been great. And I think Matas is showing that he really is a dude as well.
Vooch has found the fountain of youth.
Yeah, this is as good as he's looked as a Bull. Io DeSumu's been playing well. Even Herter, like his defense has been pretty impressive so far.
The bench has been really good. The one bad part is Pat Williams still stinks.
Ugh.
Still stinks.
Ugh.
Other than that, like this team has been a good unit. It is not one guy, but Giddy has been what has been one of their Achilles heels of the last several years. Inability to rebound. Josh Giddy at your point guard is like a forward out there rebounding.
Hmm.
He is getting rebounds. He had 12 rebounds tonight in a loss. Uh, he was only two shy of being your leader in rebounding. So like he's helping that while he's able to push the ball and become your point guard. And he's a scorer. It's that has been so helpful for the Bulls. They don't play defense worth shit. Like this is a bad defensive team, but offensively they are good and they're active.
And what I really respect about them too, this is really speaking on the Halloween game against the Knicks at home, is you built the big lead, you were hitting threes, you were hitting everything, you were driving to the basket, but then the Knicks turned on the heat in the third quarter and they cut what was once a 22-point deficit down to like three or four. But the Bulls didn't falter. They didn't crumble. They were able to regroup and still win that game semi-comfortably by the end. It
Yeah,
got
I mean you
more
you you
comfortable in like the
outscored them in
final
the fourth.
when they really took charge. Yes.
Yeah, I mean it got really
Yes.
nervous there, but the Bulls didn't falter and they ended up outscoring the Knicks in the fourth quarter. Um, and it ended up being a really nice win. Uh, with the Bulls, you had uh Giddy 32 points, 10 rebounds, 9 assists, almost a triple double. Vooch dropping 26, and he looked unstoppable in the paint.
Hmm.
Matas with double digit points, Io with double digit points, Herter with double digit points, Smith with double digit points. Um, and then Pat Williams. I You ever seen that clip from Saturday Night Live where it was like the ladies and they were singing this like I'm Janice and I'm
Yes.
something and then like and I'm Trudy. That's Pat Williams. That is Pat Williams.
I also think of the meme where it's like a whole like unit of like soldiers in the army and there's the one clown in the middle.
But this Bulls team, they've found a way to score a whole lot of points. Uh, 135 on Halloween night, 126 against the Kings in uh the return of multiple of the former
Levine
Bills,
and
Zach LaVine and
DeRozan.
DeMar DeRozan. Um, so I mean, you dropped 126 on them, 128 on the Hawks. Uh, you are finding ways to score a whole lot of points, and that's uh, that's going to be your calling card because you can't play defense. At least, I mean, you've got some defensive players that are okay, but you can't really play defense on the regular all season, all game long. It is spot defense. Um,
And
but
we knew that.
yeah,
Let's be real. We know this isn't going to be a strong defensive team, and that's why when it's all said and done, I don't think you're going to have a fantastic record, but at least your offense can keep you in games and give you the chance to win.
yeah. And You have the third best record in the NBA right now. You you are There's still now just two teams that are undefeated. The Spurs, who you face in a couple days, and like you said, Wemby looks ridiculous.
You
And
see
the
some of those
Thunder,
dunks? My goodness.
he's a dude, man. He's a dude.
A very, 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 very tall dude.
Uh, yeah, I mean, it sucks for the Bulls to lose, but it was inevitable.
It was bound to happen. And if there was a game they were going to lose, this felt like one of the most likely ones, especially with Io DeSumo not playing.
Yeah, these back to backs are tough to win both. Um, but this is the Bulls' best start since Michael Jordan was in Bulls uniform.
And I took that personally.
And like you said, Matas is looking good, and uh, it's been fun to watch.
Hmm.
Fun to watch. They're resilient. Um, they're selfless. There's a lot of things that they can do better, but um, it's you don't feel like this sense of impending doom whenever they're on the field.
Yeah, and I think that you see like a functioning unit in the sense of, hey, look at all those moving parts that actually look like they're in the right place. It looks like they're functioning right. It looks like they they're not just scrambling all over and just jacking up whatever and confused with passing the ball. Like you see some of the chemistry there, and uh, you just hope that continues the year.
Right. Um, you want to talk a little Blackhawks here?
Yeah, yeah, because you also want to talk about fun and young.
Um, we finally got a a hat trick out of Connor Bedard.
That's right. And damn it, man, I'm kicking myself because I had an idea. I'm like, maybe after work I can go to the game. It's against Ottawa. Tickets are probably cheap. It was a pretty small crowd, like only 15,000 people there. So I know I could have gotten cheap, decent seats. Should have done it. But oh well. Bedard gets his first hat trick against the Senators, and it was awesome. It was just awesome. And he had a 4 point night in total. Nazar had a goal. And I just, oh, it was so good to see. And the the Senators were not a bad team. This isn't the Sharks. This isn't some middling team. Like, is Ottawa a top contender? No, but they were a playoff team last year. They had a pretty solid record. So it was what you can say a solidly worthy opponent for him to do it against. And he was everywhere all night. He was playing out of his mind. It was awesome to see. You knew it was just a matter of time before Bedard would get a hat trick in his career, and there it was.
Yeah, and the Blackhawks, are they good? No. Are they playing quality hockey? Yes. And the young kids are starting to perform. The vision that Kyle from Chicago had putting this team together is really starting to take effect, and we're starting to see it, the vision. And these young players that he put so much stock in are starting to turn corners and become who we thought they were.
Yeah, I mean, look at what Frank Nazar's doing every night. Look at the plays that Alex Vlasic and Wyatt Kaiser, even some of the small things, the way they can lift the stick and strip the puck away, the way they're in the right position when they're on defense. If there's a rush, the way they could block a shot or, force a pass where it's not the most ideal place for the opponent to shoot. It's little things like that where you're starting to see it more and more, and you're like, okay, you see where the skill and the talent lies within the many aspects of this team. I mean, give them credit for Saturday night's game. They got a point on the road against Edmonton. You lost in overtime because guess what? Edmonton has the best talent in the world and they're established and they're They're veteran, experienced guys. You were just simply outmanned there. But you were able to have a pretty even shot game and get a point against that Edmonton team on a big road trip. Fairly impressive. And even the game against the Jets, you lost 6-3. Spencer Knight, for the first time this season, didn't have his best game, but I felt like you did a lot of good things in that game and you held in tight there and you saw positives. And the Jets are a wagon. Like that team is an absolute wagon. And you saw good old friend Jonathan Tays again, too.
Jonathan Taves, love it.
Yeah, he's
Love,
been, for his age, he's playing decently.
yeah, yeah, you can't complain there. Um, but yeah, I mean, you're seeing a lot of these young players. I mean, you knew Bedard, but like a lot of players that Kyle from Chicago was putting him in place and bringing in that we were questionable about are becoming dudes. And it's not going to be long before this Blackhawks team is a real contender.
Hmm.
It's going to happen. There's so many young players and the pipeline is still like you've got so many more young players ready to come up.
Our sponsor, the Rockford Ice Hogs. Look at what Ollie Moore and Nick Lardis are doing.
Yeah.
They look like they're too good for the AHL already.
Yes, absolutely. Um it's there's so many good players in this pipeline um that you've got years of guys still coming up and you're still going to have a good draft picks this year because you've got a lot of picks.
Yes.
Um, so I'm very excited for how this is going. I don't know if is Blashill the guy, but he's got this team playing a whole lot better.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
Um,
Been more aggressive too. They're not taking shit.
no, and you're seeing Connor Bedard playing much better defense too.
Yes. And honestly, I think that was going to come. It's so hard for a young forward in the NHL who's 18 and just isn't mature enough physically or mentally to play defense at the highest level of hockey. It's a tough thing to do. You got to grow into it.
Right. Um, but I mean, yeah, you look at this team and you're like, man, uh, there's so much to be excited about, and I love it. I love every second of it.
Hmm. Me too.
Um, when you watch these games, they're not getting blown out. They're competing. Um, I mean, I guess they have gotten blown out, but they're competing in there. And it doesn't look like they don't belong. And record wise, I know it's really early, but they're in that hunt for a wild card spot. Will that last all season? Probably not.
No.
But you look where they've come from the last however many years, where they've been right at the bottom of the standings, and in that hunt for the number one overall pick, the fact that you're in the hunt for a playoff spot, that's a huge step forward.
It is. And we were talking about the schedule. The Blackhawks right now, I mean, you just played the Oilers and the Jets back to back. Those are two teams that could be playing each other in the Western Conference Finals. And it's not the old circus trip that used to happen around Thanksgiving time. You're on a longer trip, a longer road trip, which is very similar to what, like, you remember that old circus trip, right? It was always
Yeah,
West Coast. You would
when we
play.
when we still had the circus.
Yeah, exactly. So you would go on the West Coast and you'd play Edmonton and Calgary and Vancouver and LA and Anaheim. You would, and I think Texas sometimes, like you would, and San Jose. You would always play San Jose the night before Thanksgiving, and then you would play Anaheim the day after Thanksgiving. Every year, it was always the same pattern for that circus trip. That's been gone a few years, but this is kind of similar. You played the Jets, you played the Oilers, You'll play Seattle, you'll play Vancouver, you'll play Calgary, and then you'll end that road trip in Detroit against the Red Wings. So it's definitely a difficult road trip for the team, but you just want them to keep playing, doing what they're doing, and give them a good fight.
It's all you can. It's all you can do.
Yep.
All you can do. But um, it's just been a fun brand of hockey. It's fun to watch. They look competent. They don't look lost. You still see the growing pains, but you're seeing so much more positives than negatives, and that's the progress that you're looking for.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
So yeah, it's fun to watch, and I haven't gotten to watch a ton just because there's been so much going on as far as baseball and life stuff, and
Yep.
it's haven't gotten to watch a ton of Blackhawks, but I've gone back to watch bits and pieces after the game is over,
Yep. Me
and
too.
it's a lot of fun, and I'm excited for once the weather turns and I don't feel like going out as much, and being able to park on the couch and watch, being able to watch the Bulls or the Blackhawks and not feel just a deep pit of despair in your stomach.
Yeah, it's definitely improved. It's, not the top of the mountain, nowhere near close yet, but it's better than it was before. That's not a low, it's a low bar, but here we are.
Indeed. Indeed. Um, is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
Nope, I think I've said my piece.
I think that's going to do it for this episode of Bill Swerski Sports Talk Chicago. I want to thank everybody so much for listening. Please hit subscribe however you listen to podcasts, whether it's iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, Google Play, Spotify, etc. Share this podcast with your friends. How we grow the show. Follow us on social media at Swerski Sports, Facebook.com/Swerski Sports, SwerskiSports.com, or Swerski_Sports_podcast on Instagram, ShyFanPat2 for Alex on Twitter/X, or AlexanderJPatCreative.com for all the cool stuff that Alex does. And again, thank you so much for listening. And until next time, bear down.
Cubs win! What a lucky break! The good Lord wants the Cubs to win!
We thank Ditka and God for all they have provided.
Cubs win! Cubs win! Cubs win!
Oh, I don't want her. You can have her. She's a Packer fan. She can't fit in my van.
And she looks like Remember, New Yorkers, smoking crack is not legal on planes. Bears 31 to -7. The Bears! Oh, when the Bears go bearing down.